Each episode of Education with an Edge is meant to create, cultivate, and inspire honest discussion about issues affecting youth. Hosted by author, artist, educator, advocate, and speaker, Jaquel Lane.
Hello and welcome. My name is Jaquel Lane, your hostess of Education with an Edge, the podcast where every child matters because that's what we believe, and you should too. We're all about encouraging and inspiring youth to be the best that they can be, and I'm so excited to have my good friend on the program today, Tammy Shuff of Gretna, Nebraska. She is an extraordinary woman who's very passionate about showing other women that they are strong and capable of making a difference. It's very important to her to lead by example and to be a source of inspiration for other mothers and women. These are just a few ways that she is implementing her passion as of recently. She is a contestant for the Mrs. Nebraska 2022 Mrs. Heartland pageant. Her platform is human sex trafficking. She's advocating for victims rescued from human sex trafficking. She is on the executive board member at Rejuvenating Women, a safe house for rescued victims. And she's certified in human trafficking 1 by 1 by Polaris. She's also a mentor for 7th grade girls at Life Church of Omaha, a Girl Scout troop leader, Gretna High School Booster Club board member, Women's Bible Study group leader, hostess for Halloween parties for the families staying at the Ronald McDonald House, which is one of our very favorite organizations. She is married to her wonderful husband, Chad, and they are celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary this year. She is the mother of 3, Logan, who is 14, and twins Leighton and Landon, who are 12. She is also the owner of Envy Tans by Tammy, frame specialist at C and B Scene. She's originally from Joplin, Missouri. She graduated college at Northeastern Oklahoma and has an Associate of Science and Certification in Surgical Technology. She is also a bodybuilding professional, and she is honored to be on the cover of Naturalmag 2021 edition and will also be featured in Omaha Magazine Spring 2022 edition for her achievements in bodybuilding. So thank you so much. What an illustrious biography, Tammy. We're so excited to have you here. And it's wonderful, all of the things that you're doing in the community. So we just couldn't be more excited. So we're just going to get right into it. I think it's essential to start from the beginning to fully understand your remarkable story. So can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your childhood?
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here. I was born in Joplin, Missouri, where my family of 5 lived during the school year, but we spent the summers living in Portland, Oregon to spend more time with my mom's side of the family. It's hard to wrap your mind around this. My dad was one of 27 children.
Oh my gosh.
I have so many cousins, I've lost count.
I love it.
My parents have been married for 53 years, and my childhood was filled with a lot of traveling, love, and Jesus.
I absolutely love that. I also neglected to mention that you are part of a community group that makes blankets for the homeless at the Stevens Center and Christmas cards for Soldiers and Senior Center. And you also sack lunches for the Open Door Mission. So I just think that it's so important as well to speak to the fact that you take time out of your own busy schedule to go and mentor female students at local high schools on the importance of managing stress with proper nutrition and exercise, which is something that we all need. So I'm sure you're going to have a lot of people reaching out to you after this podcast to come and talk about that. So I absolutely love your story too. So 27 kids, that is remarkable. I'm sure that your holidays are so fun and exciting. I can only imagine. So Tammy, who was a mentor in your life growing up and how did they inspire you?
Well, I was definitely blessed to have a lot of amazing people in my life growing up in such a large family. But I would have to say my Aunt Betty. She is the epitome of kindness. She's always compassionate. She's beautiful. She's generous. And she's so wise. She was always one that I would go to for advice.
Oh, I love that. You are highly motivated and respected in the health and fitness industry. And so can you tell us about where your passion for this began?
Yes, I am. I started working out at the age of 19. I taught aerobics at the YMCA for 6 years, and then I progressed into weightlifting. And that's really where I found my passion and love for the gym. It's amazing to see how you can transform your physique with hard work and proper nutrition and consistency. And I just feel it's very important to, stay healthy. And I encourage others to to just start, because any step forward is a success. And I'm so honored to be, on that cover of Naturalmag, and make sure you look for me in the next Omaha Magazine edition as well.
We can't wait to see that. And I've seen the Naturalmag, and you look absolutely phenomenal. So
thank you so much.
And I did see from good old social media, I did see some sneak peek photos, and absolutely stunning, and also just like empowering for other people and other women to know that they can do that too, just one step at a time. So I love your message.
Thank you.
This is so exciting. So this year you are going to be competing for the title of Mrs. Nebraska, which will be held on April 2nd of 2022 at the Graduate Hotel in Lincoln. And you have a platform that is very near and dear to your heart amidst all of the other phenomenal things that you do in the community and how connected you are. But can you tell us a little bit about what your platform is and why you're passionate about it?
Absolutely. My platform is human sex trafficking, and for the listeners who are unfamiliar with that subject, it is the use of force or coercion to compel a person into commercial sex acts against their will, and it's more likely for that person's gain, whether they get money or whatever way that they're using it for. It happens in every country. It happens to every age, every gender, every race. And Nebraska is actually number 14 in the United States as far as the number of cases go. And I don't think people really realize that. Unfortunately, the College World Series is one of the major spots that traffickers can be found. It's a hidden crime. It's happening right in front of us. And it's so disheartening because people just don't know the signs to look for, and they need to be taught that.
Absolutely. And that actually, brings me to our next question. So how can our audience educate themselves better about this topic and then also support your cause?
Well, Rejuvenating Women, it's an organization. It started in 2012. And, it started as a support group for women. And Julie Schrader, she is the CEO, and she did a radio show where she interviewed recovered women from abusive pasts. We need to come together and teach adolescent women and men prevention strategies, and we need to help equip the community members with the skills to recognize and respond to human trafficking. The buying and selling of human beings is unacceptable. I spend time with the women at the house on a regular basis, and just to hear the things that they've been through is just heartbreaking.
Absolutely. And thank you so very much for doing that. And I know that it's also, one of the ways that they're also contacting or connecting with young girls especially is through social media, and so educating parents and things like that about the signs and what to look for. And thank you to Julie Schrader for obviously being the founder of this organization. And so we'll talk about how you can support them and check them out at the end of the podcast. But since this is a podcast that's dedicated to youth and mental health awareness, what would you say to encourage a young person who wants to be successful? And I know that you have beautiful children at home of your own. So, I don't know what you tell them, but what would you tell someone that was listening that maybe needed a little bit more of a support system on what they can do to be successful?
Well, I believe, success is very individualized. And for youth, it can be as simple as, starting your day with gratitude and being intentional about bringing your best self for the day, whether that be in your role as a daughter or a son, a friend, a student, your schoolwork, or at your sporting events. I encourage young people to maintain a mindset of being kind and compassionate, because at the end of the day, if you've done all that, you've just conquered a successful day.
I love that. Gratitude is so very important, even in our lives as adults, just to be focusing on the positive. And so that is an excellent answer. So what is one piece of advice that you wish someone would have given you when you were younger?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Like, at the end of the day, you just need to remember what's important. God, family, friends, love, laughter, kindness, the basics of what truly matters. Stick to that and you'll be wildly successful.
Absolutely. Many young people are going through obstacles right now in their lives in one way or another. And what is one obstacle that you have faced in your life and overcome that you're proud of?
Well, my husband and I recently had a parenting obstacle regarding our teenage son. He is a freshman, and just helping him through his own obstacle when an anonymous person Snapchatted a message to him along with most of the high school telling him that he should kill himself. And he's a pretty resilient young man, but that really shook him, and it shook us. Like I cry almost every time I think about it, and it's not okay. Like, he was really hurt and he was confused by it. We had to sit down as a family and just remind all of our children and reiterate how social media can be so harmful if it's not used properly.
Absolutely. And that breaks my heart, even listening to you tell that. And so I think I just have to thank you for the bottom of my heart and for the listeners' hearts for being willing to be vulnerable about that and share that story, because we do know that social media bullying happens every single day on a regular basis. And thank goodness for parents like you that are willing to take that step and be there for your children and be there to listen and to care. Once again, this podcast is dedicated to education, and this is always like one of my favorite questions because I'm a teacher and I just like to hear about teachers. But did you have a favorite teacher growing up, and how did they impact your life?
I did. I will never forget Mrs. Clark. She was my third grade teacher, old lady with gray hair. Now, I can't even... I don't know how old. She had to be super old. Maybe I just thought that because I was younger, but she was so kind and compassionate, and she genuinely cared for her students, and she actually loved her job. I think you can really tell when a teacher loves their job. Loves
what they do and love the kids. Well, thank you, Mrs. Clark, for the impact that you've had on Tammy's life. Is there one piece of advice, that you would give to a young person who is going through a hard time right now? And what would that piece of advice be?
Well, as we all know, because we've all been through it, adversity is inevitable. And sometimes, you may not have control over the circumstances, but you do have control over how you react. So, instead of looking at disappointments or failures as a negative thing, I like to take a step back, assess the whole situation, and, ask myself, what can I learn from this? Or what do I need to change moving forward? Or was there a purpose for this happening?
I love that piece of advice, and that's so good for all of us, honestly, not just young people, just to realize, but also just look at every single obstacle as a learning experience and take from that what you can and move on. So excellent advice. I know that I am dying to know this, and our viewers are too. So, with everything that you've accomplished, you're such a goal getter and a goal setter. So what are some of your goals for 2022?
Well, I always try to work on maintaining what I already do in my everyday life, whether that be time management or working out, staying involved with my work in human trafficking, or, being the best mother I can, being the best wife that I can, but just taking it up to the next level. My most current upcoming goal is to bring my best to be a contestant as Mrs. Heartland at the Mrs. Nebraska pageant on April 2nd. I'm super excited.
We're super excited for you. That's so excellent. And I also love that because oftentimes with the pressure of like new year, you've got to, add all these new things. And I think that that's important to step back and say, what am I already doing that I can keep in place and continue to do that are good practices? So I love that as well.
Thank you.
So where can our viewers follow your journey on social media, etc.? Follow your journey to Mrs. Nebraska and all of your work that you're doing, not just in your community, but with Rejuvenating Women.
Well, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram just under my direct name of Tammy Shuff.
Awesome. Well, we are so very honored to have you on today, Tammy. You are an inspiration, not just to so many women, but also to so many young people as well. And just want to say a shout out to Julie. And if you would like to talk a little bit more about what she's meant to you and to the organization, we would love to hear about that.
Well, Julie is amazing. She is the, co-founder of and CEO of Rejuvenating Women, and just after all of her work that she's put toward women with abusive past, she ended up, acquiring a house where she could, help truly meet the needs of rescued victims of sex trafficking. And over time, they've grown, and now they offer a curriculum that is geared specifically for trafficked women with staff that is knowledgeable in trauma forced in care, which is very important. The house is full right now, so the needs are abundant, even from just the basics of toilet paper, paper towels, laundry detergents, and funds in general for the needs of, all the women who are living there. If you'd like to get involved, you can go to the website at rejuvenatingwomen.com. You can donate. You can sign up to be a volunteer. You can get specific needs through their Amazon link. And there's also an annual gala, which is the biggest fundraiser. And I have attended every year. It's a great time. I encourage others to come and enjoy a nice dinner while learning more about how you can get involved and educating yourself on the facts, because unfortunately there are a lot of myths surrounding human trafficking. It's held on September 8th, and tickets will be available soon through the website or on Facebook.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure that that's an excellent way for our viewers to get involved. And this is such an important issue that's going on and affecting young people right now. So, and affecting women, unfortunately, right now. So thank you so very much for being on the show with us today. We look forward to following you on your journey and all the wonderful and remarkable things to come for you in 2022 and beyond. And thank you, audience, for joining us here today on Education with an Edge. Please remember, we are the only podcast that's dedicated to anti-bullying and suicide prevention. If you're a young person that's listening, we need your love. We need your light. We have an awesome partnership with the Boys Town Suicide Hotline and with the Nebraska Foundation for Suicide Prevention, two amazing organizations that you can reach out to if you need help. And we thank you for joining us today. That's Jackie Lane signing off with Education with an Edge.
If you have a question or just want to learn more, go to JaquelLane.com. Thanks for listening to Education with an Edge.
A Huda Media Production.